fit. You know, Barber, Idris, Morris, they can score tries from anywhere, and I just think that that's the key tonight, to take your opportunities, and I think there won't be too many opportunities, but the Bulldogs will pounce.
No doubt the Bulldogs do have some more strike out on the edges, but whether they can get the ball there, depending on what sort of job the Sharks forwards do in the middle of the park, and when they've won and won well, it has usually been off the back of a very good forward performance. That's why they'll have to win the game tonight for mine if they are to win.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. The usual suspects, Paul Gallen, the back row of Jason Smith, Jeremy Smith, Jason Bakuya, who comes back into the side after missing last week. But this is how they will take the field as we look at the Bulldogs in their sheds, with Brett Kamali, Ben Barber at the back, Turner and Wright on the wings, Morris, Idris in the centres, Keating comes in along with Trent Hodkinson in the halves. The Bulldogs forward pack, Tolman, Reynolds, Cassiano, Pritchard, Ryan and Hallertau the back row. The interchange bench, Eastwood, Cutler, Payer and David Stagg returns from injury in 21.
2 wins and 2 losses under the coaching of Jim Dimmick, of course. In recent times, their only wins have come against the Eels and also the Cowboys. Well, the Sharks, we know they've lost 4 straight after winning 4 straight. 4 games that got them back into contention. I think they might return to that team here tonight with a bit to play for in front of their home fans after being disappointing last week. But here's how they'll line up.
Yeah, Gardner is back in the 1 shirt. Best and Stapleton are on the wings. In the centres, it's Pomeroy and Latelli. In the halves, Wade Graham and Chad Townsend. A real strength of the Sharks is the forward pack, and this is the way that it will line up tonight. Snowden and Morris, Douglas up front, a hard-working back row of Smith, Bakuya and Gallen. On the interchange bench tonight, Tupou, Tagatese, Cordova and Paul Aton.
A couple of changes there as far as Shane Flanagan is concerned, and we'll wait and see whether they can be a team that bounces back from the disappointment of last week. Of course, we're not too far away from a kick-off.
Welcome to Toyota Stadium, the final game of round 23 between 2 footy sides that have been under pressure since round 1, but for very differing reasons. That pressure remains tonight. The hosts are looking to snap a 4-game losing streak, while the visitors are still hopeful of playing September football. Welcome to Monday Night Football, the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs.
Thank you, Andy, as the Bulldogs come down the tunnel here at Toyota Stadium. A couple of changes made by Jim Dimmick, who will coach his 5th game in the NRL here tonight. Coming off a win last week against the North Queensland Cowboys at ANZ Stadium. And they have had plenty of success here at Toyota Stadium in recent times, but that man Andrew Ryan about to play the 4th last game perhaps of his NRL career before retiring at the end of the 2011 season. Out come the Sharks, led by their captain courageous Paul Gallen. They have a very good forward pack when they're at their best. They'll need to be tonight to beat the Bulldogs, who have so much motivation coming here. The Sharks, of course, with just 7 wins and 13 losses so far this season. The Bulldogs, 9 and 11 is their record. And a win here tonight could have them as close as just 2 points outside the top 8. They'll need to keep on winning. They have some big games to come against the Sea Eagles next week, most importantly. But tonight they have to get past the Sharks first, otherwise it's all in vain. Ben Barber will notch up game number 50 here tonight. And our referees this evening, Jared Maxwell and Gavin Morris, in just his 7th game in the NRL, as the Sharks will defend the southern end of Toyota Stadium. And the Dogs get us underway. The kickoff goes down to Nathan Gardner. Back in the lineup tonight after missing the game last week here against the Titans. Hayden Snowden brings it back out towards the 20-metre line for the Sharks. Oh, Luke Douglas hit, and a good tackle by Sam Cassiano. Combining there with Pritchard, who was on a bit of a mission last week against the Cowboys. And come up with a bone-rattling shot on Douglas first up here tonight. Now Jeremy Smith running towards Pritchard, combining with Cassiano once again. A play it after 4 in this opening set. Gallen will carry it forward. There's a lot of carries deep in the tackle count on play 5 in particular before they get their kick away. And just outside the 40, Wade Graham puts the left boot on it. It'll skid down towards Steve Turner on a slightly dewy surface here tonight. And the chase from the Sharks with Latelli and Best, who was out there in 17 tonight doing a good job on him.
Well, there was plenty of intent shown in the first set of 6 by the Bulldogs. Nice and aggressive, getting off their line, hitting with their shoulders.
Towel, wearing 13, angling back in between the A defenders either side of to play the ball. Plays about 15 short of the halfway line. Here's Ryan giving it to Widris. They're up in his face pretty quickly. Getting an early touch though is the big centre. He plays it for Reynolds. Goes to Tom. A tip on there for Cassiano. A ball out the back for Hodkinson. Then Pritchard got hit and a good tackle by Pomeroy. He jammed in and got it squarely and stopped a raid dead in its tracks. Good work by Pomeroy.
Yeah, just watching Paul Gallen, he's struggling a bit. He might have done that calf again. He's walking back on side. He's still walking to Paul Gallen. He missed 2 matches, of course, the losses against Brisbane and Newcastle. And he's taking his time. Normally Gallen would be putting his hand up for a run. We'll just see how he fares over the next few minutes.
Can be notorious, can't he, for hanging around and reoccurring. We'll see what happens here for Paul Gallen in the next few sets of 6. Snowden plays it. Morris across to Bakuya. Tries to spin out of the tackle there of Cassiano. That's some good work already. Now Bakuya's hurt as well. He gets up with either an ankle or a knee injury perhaps. A couple of worries for the Sharks already. He's slumped back to the ground now. Here's Morris going to Graham to put it up in the air. Barber standing underneath it has had all sorts of trouble with the high ball. Now we'll be driven back into the in goal, and the Sharks get 6 more tackles.
Well, that was good work by the Sharks, putting the ball in the air. And Benny Barber, he'll be tested tonight. The back 3 of the Bulldogs have had their moments over the last 4 weeks with the ball in the air, and Bakuya looking as though he's going to leave the field. And you're right, Brandy, I kept a close eye on Paul Gallen in that set. He did not get out of a jog. He was hobbling.
Well, he actually walked, Loz. He walked that whole set and didn't want to get involved in it. And Paul Gallen, well, you can't keep him out of the play. Bakuya comes off. And we'll have Anthony Tupou come on immediately. So Bakuya back for his first game in a month. Comes off after the first couple of minutes.
Here is Gallen. Not too bad right there, chopped down by Hallertown on a good tackle. It goes through the hands of Douglas. Snowden out the back to Townsend, who takes them on, wrapped up by Pritchard and also Keating. Morris waits at dummy half. He goes to Snowden. Stopped in a good tackle, one-on-one there by Reynolds. And now Morris takes them on from dummy half himself. He burns the play. They've got 1 left. Townsend feeds it back for Graham to chip it towards the corner. Contest out wide with Telly trying to knock it backwards.
And touching
the ball
goal
went forward off his hands, and the Bulldogs will bring it back out to their own 20.
Well, not a bad kick from Wade Graham there. Well, Telly getting a pretty good play at it, just couldn't knock it backwards. Colin Best was the other Sharks player there waiting for the ball.
He wasn't confident of contesting the football, though, Steve Turner. He just stayed on the ground. He allowed Latelli to jump and contest it on his own.
Now Reynolds out of dummy half. They'll have been speaking about him and the speed he has from that position. Lead up to this game, the markers need to be aware. Here's Tolman back at the halfway line. Play it for Reynolds. Hodkinson puts a kick in over the head of Gardner. The bounce was a fairly kind one for the Bulldogs, and Gardner had to play at it. He brings it back out to almost his 10. Tolman's got him. So has Hodkinson, and for a moment he was a chance of ending up back in the in-goal area.
That was a good chase by Aidan Tolman down the centre third of the field. He's such a dangerous player, Nathan Gardner, and he'll need to be watched tonight for the Bulldogs. He can pop up anywhere on the field, in particular around the middle of the park. He's got explosive speed.
There's Jeremy Smith towards Reynolds and also Pritchard. 5.5 gone, no score yet. The stadium, Cassiano launched himself out of the line. He was looking for a shot on Snowden and came up with fresh air. Graham to kick. Well inside the 40, but he goes down the middle of the park. And it's Turner. Bring it back towards Gallen. Gallen crunched him for his trouble.
Hands out, Paul.
Something to see Big Sam Cassiano come screaming out of the line the way he did.
You have to be effective when you come out of the line. You can't afford to miss the tackle and allow the man carrying the football to make an extra 5 metres or maybe go through your lines. So you need to be effective when you're tackling.
They go out towards him now. Keating goes in behind Cassiano. In fact, Barber. Not much happening in front of him. Wrapped up there effectively by Townsend and also Snowden. From Morris, it goes to Keating. Here is Cassiano. One-on-one for a moment there with Smith. And then the ball was stripped, I'll say, by Luke Douglas.
Yeah, he just got his arms free there, Cassiano. He's a big man. He looked on the inside. He had Frank Pritchard on the right. On the outside, he just couldn't turn his body quick enough. They pick up the penalty.
He's a good player, Cassiano. The thing I like about him as a front rower, he can pass in the line, he can pass before the line, but he also knows when to just carry it forward. He's just got to quick play the ball for his team. He's got good variation for a front rower.
So on the replay there, Luke Douglas a little slow in getting to the tackle, penalised for the flop, jarring the ball loose. Keating to Barber. Here's Idris. Good hands, knocked down by the Sharks. And that saved a try. Colin Best is going to run away, grabbed by Barber, but the whistle has blown some 50 metres back up the field.
Well, it was a 3-on-3 there, and just the speed of Ben Barber got him on the outside. It created a little 3-on-2. Idris was in two minds whether to hit the hole or whether to pull back and pass the ball. In the end, it was a Cronulla hand that knocked it down.
You'd like to see Jamal Idris on that type of run just hit the hole. He's so big, he's close to the line, rather than trying to catch and pass. You're right, he was in two minds there.
All around, mate.
They survive
Right around there.
for the moment. Jared Maxwell getting close and personal with the back row there of the Bulldogs. They're underway again now. Here's Keating out the back to Barber. A great ball and cost them any momentum they had building up to the left-hand side there. Here's Wright. Stopped there by Morris. They'll play it there on one in front of the uprights. 20 away. Here's Reynolds. Had the ball stolen from him by Luke Douglas.
How did he do that? The front rower on the hooker, Reynolds, trying to expose the Sharks through the middle, and a one-on-one effort from Luke Douglas has saved his football team. That's a great effort from the big front rower.
Straight off.
He gave away the penalty, which led to the Bulldogs extending the possession inside the Sharks' 20. Got them out of trouble. That'll work. Looks to be okay there. Got a ball away, which may have come off the knees, perhaps, of Gardner, but it's play on now for the Bulldogs with Keating cleaning it up. But as far as that calf muscle is concerned, he didn't look to be inconvenienced right there.
Okay, he may have just taken a knock on it rather than a strain. And that's good news for the Sharks. They can ill afford to lose another player, given that Bakuya has already left the field.
We'll get an update in a moment on Jason Bakuya from Andy. Ryan goes out the back. Here's Pritchard. They were sweating on him, though. Good tackle. They stop him about 30 metres out from the Sharks line. There's Cassiano. Nothing doing there. They need to wrap the ball up. He had it free for a moment, but couldn't get it away. They've got two more tackles left in this set of 6 as Hodkinson comes across to Keating. Passes Hallertau to give it to Idris. He loses the ball, and the Sharks have it once again.
Here we are.
That was good defence from the Sharks. They move forward and they applied pressure to Idris, and that's a good response from Jamal, picking up Gallant and driving him into the turf. But they weren't hanging back on Jamal, they were pushing forward. And now they've made an error.
A miscommunication here, Kate. Snowden didn't think he was going to get the pass. I'm sure he thought he was the decoy. Here's the error again from Idris. As Graham comes over the top and knocks his arm, the ball goes to ground. And then Latelli coming across. Well, Snowden stopped on his run. I'm sure he thought Latelli was going out the back. Would have been better for the centre just to take it from dummy half himself and take a settler to work it away from the sideline. Quick report on Jason Bakuya, Andy, on that ankle or that calf muscle.
Ankle ligament damage for Jason Bakuya, the same ankle that kept him sidelined earlier in the year. The physio's working on him at the moment, unsure if he'll be back. On Paul Callan, a strain of the calf muscle. They don't think it's going to really cause any issues as far as endurance goes, but any explosion and getting off the mark quickly could be a concern for Gallen.
Not too bad a moment ago. We'll keep a watchful eye on him as Tolman takes it within about 5 of the Sharks line. They've had some chances already, yet to convert one as Reynolds links up with Hodkinson. Alatau, first man play, bumps off the tackle of Graham, and the Bulldogs do convert.
Well, he can hit Haldane Halatau, and that one, the outside in run. Wade Graham came in for the shot, but bounced off the hip of Halatau. The Dogs, after really the bulk of the early pressure, come up with some points. It was a one-on-one. It shouldn't have been missed. He went down low, and Halatau strong through the hips. Just had his hips turned sideways a bit when he hit the tackle of Graham, and it made it difficult.
You just can't miss one-on-one tackles in this area of the field. You miss one-on-one here, and they've only got a short space to run to the line. He was in a good position to make the tackle. And unfortunately, he drops off.
Now Stephen Turner from beside the uprights adds the extra 2. And it's the Bulldogs 6, the Sharks nothing after 12.5 here on Monday Night Football.
They fancied themselves on this side of the field, the Bulldogs, a couple of times tonight. With Hodkinson with the football, he's picked up the straight runner, he's picked up the man on the sweep line. So they fancied their chances on this side of the field. That's a good kickoff.
Hodkinson had a real chance to put a foot over the line perhaps and reach in and touch that ball. He was thinking about it, as you saw, as it came down to him. He knew he was close to the dead ball line, just didn't realise perhaps how close he was. Idris playing for Hodkinson. Cassiano runs towards Morris, and also Douglas loses the ball. They all say it was stripped. The flow of possession keeps coming here for the Bulldogs. Off the back of this kick for line, they'll go back on the attack once again.
Really had his arms around the ball, in and around the ball. I don't know if there was a genuine attempt to strip it. Might have been a tough one on the Sharks.
See the possession already, 69% for the Bulldogs. As Aidan Tolman loses his footing as he comes towards the halfway line. They have a 6-0 lead. Reynolds coming back on the inside for Halatau. That ball bounced off his chest into Gallen before it came back to him. Got away with one right there as Tolman goes to Ryan. Now Hodkinson, Keating, with Pritchard heading to the left. Coming back on the right was Josh Morris.
Well, they played so far from the defensive line that it opened up nothing for their runners. Josh Morris coming in and just running into a straight line of defence. He just did not move the Sharks' defence around at all.
Ryan gets them going back towards the line. He plays it for Reynolds. Goes to the left-hand side. Pritchard skipping away there from Tupou. Then slipping a lovely ball to Ryan, who got it on to Keating. And here they are, 15 away again from the Sharks line. Last play, and Hodkinson will put it up. Almost a midfield bomb close to the lines, it turned out. Taken with no contest by the Bulldogs by John Morris.
Normally his kicking game is very good, Trent Hodkinson, but that was a poor bomb. When you're that close to the try line, you're only 15 metres out. If you can't get it to drop on the try line, you're not doing your job.
There's Josh Reynolds coming out of the line now. Sam Cassiano had Stapleton in what looked to be a grapple tackle situation. And Stapleton was certainly letting the referee know all about it. He got no joy from the men in pink. Townsend. His kicking game was a little bit off last week in the game against the Titans, a 4-point loss. Wasn't quite to the standard that he's shown so far in his NRL career.
Yeah, and it's always difficult for a rookie in his first year. to sustain that level of excellence that he's shown early in his career. You know, they're going to have a flat spot. He's had it over the last couple of weeks, but I really like that kick. His team's been struggling for possession. They've been defending their line. And it just takes some speed out of the game by finding touch. These forwards can walk to the scrum, get their breath back, talk about how they're going to defend this next set of 6.
Oh, gosh.
So that was maturity shown there with that kick.
Arms over, all tight. Get square. Wait. And it's out.
Paul Gallen defending and off the scrum. Here he is getting involved in the tackle. Front rower Snowden getting there with some help from Jeremy Smith. Now Tolman. Try and work it away. See if the Sharks can up the tempo here defensively. Tolman, a sloppy looking play the ball with not much motion from the foot. So goes to the left hand side here from Morris. Brings it up towards the 30. Reynolds gives it off to Cassiano. Good carries already here tonight. He's made 12 tackles as well. Had 7 hit-ups. Now Pritchard. He follows suit. Some big meters there. 2 good carries for the Bulldogs. Have them back in Sharks territory. They've got one more play. Pass for Keating wasn't a terrific one. It was awkward for him to handle. Almost as awkward as the kick for Ricky Telly.
I thought he lost it. You could tell he looked uncomfortable when the ball was running to him. He had his hands down. I don't know how he didn't drop that.
You can get some nasty ones. You wait for the ball. When it's hit the ground and it's rolling, you're waiting for it to kick up. Then all of a sudden it doesn't. Your hands are above the ball. You're in trouble.
Just ask Chris Hicks.
Ball, mate. No better than that.
Got handcuffed by a ball that refused to sit up. And the loss for the Eels against the Sea Eagles on Saturday night. The Sharks get a penalty.
And a good chance for the Sharks, although the kick is not a great one. Just finding touch a metre inside the Bulldogs' half. It's the first real chance since early in the contest that they can go on the attack.
Paul Gallen gets up clutching at his right shoulder. You could really hear the contact in that tackle. He got up wincing and trying to flex the right shoulder. He's one to the left-hand side off the play the ball, as the ball might have been touched there by the Bulldogs, and it was in fact. They'll say 6 again as Townsend picks it up and goes towards Hallertau.
Gee, that puts you under pressure. Just a lazy tap of the football. He was never going to get it. Reynolds.
Gallen stopped there by Ryan. That was just the first. Here's Morris winning it back underneath for Graham. Great chance here for the Sharks to try and level the scores. Morris, flat ball, all the way into the wing there for Latelli, who runs away from the sideline. Comes back towards Reynolds. Skipped away from his tackle before Hallertau finished him off. Morris. He goes to Douglas. Hands across the line. Not effective. Then backwards kick Pomeroy. Somebody stick a fork in it and pick it up. And they do eventually. It is Ben Pomeroy, and they've lost almost 20 metres on the play. Here's Townsend. Graham back on the inside for Douglas. They lost their way on that play in this set of 6. So Townsend just has to put it up for a bit of a lottery bomb. Flying forward is Stapleton, who's a terrific leaper. But it was well read and well defended there by Jonathan Wright.
And the execution in that set was very poor. It started with a pass to the left side of the field from John Morris to Latelli. He found himself back in the middle of the field. From there, they shifted the ball to the right, and Pomeroy was fumbling around. They lost yardage. The end of the set was poor with the kick. They need to do better than that in good field position. You're just not applying any pressure at all to the opposition defence.
Well, it was a wasted chance as we hit the 20-minute mark in this first half. Take it forward through Jonathan Wright. They're by Tupou and also Morris. Josh, that is, not John, gets out from dummy half and works it back up towards the halfway line. They'll play it here for Turner, who comes in for a scamper. They'll test out these Sharks forwards. We're thinking perhaps the Sharks have had a slight edge in the forward pack in this game tonight. It hasn't worked out that way so far. The kick by Keating.
Hand over.
Well, Jonathan Wright was quite trying to emulate what David Mead did here just last week, but it would have been a fairly spectacular catch all the same had he pulled this one in.
Well, there was an opening there, but there wasn't much space between the outside defender and the sideline. The kick from Keating had to be absolutely perfect. It was only a yard or two out, but that was enough to put Jonathan Wright over the sideline.
Yeah, I don't know about that kick in that situation. 6-0 up. You've been under a little bit of pressure. The ideal kick was to kick it in a corner. Get the Sharks working it off their own try line, build pressure. Not going for the high-risk play. Now, that kick from the Bulldogs was a poor one. And on the back of that, they've given away a penalty. And the Sharks are now in good position to maybe register points.
All the way, all the way, all the way.
You've got to weigh up those decisions when you make those type of kicks, the high-risk plays.
Well, here they are again, just outside the Bulldogs' 10 as Morris gives it to Townsend. He had Douglas coming with him. He got away from the Ryan tackle. Gallen looms up. He's still going, Townsend. And eventually taken a ground there by Hodkinson. Almost found a way to go behind them. Quick hands here. Gardner gets away from Turner, who makes a tackle while laying flat on his back. That's pretty clever. Here's Gallen. He goes to Graham. Puts it back underneath here for Douglas. They keep it alive. It goes back to Colin Best. Hit an arm clocked as well, looking to slip one there to Morris. They've got 2 plays left from close range. Goes from Townsend. Across to Graham. Pritchard was up quickly. They recovered, though, through Reynolds. Last play. Morris. The chip it again for Stapleton. Losing it. Pomeroy was there. But they'll say Stapleton lost the ball forward.
A good kick there from Johnny Morris out of dummy half. A quick play, the ball from Wade Graham. Gave Morris time. Even though he was so close to the try line, still had plenty of time to put that kick in. He just couldn't handle it in the end. Close one for the Dogs.
Again, though, a less than convincing set of 6 by the Sharks inside the Bulldogs' 20.
Paul Gallen will soldier on, but there's no doubt he's inconvenienced by that calf. He just hasn't got any power off his run. We saw him jump out of dummy half there and offload the ball pretty quickly when he knew he had to take off. We'll keep watching him in defence, but I think if you knew that Gallen was carrying that calf from the Dogs, you'd keep coming at him.
Here's the last for the Bulldogs. We'll wait and see what Keating does this time. He fakes the kick and then dummies to get in behind Jeremy Smith, who was out of the line pretty quickly, but his kick
Watch it.
will go too deep.
All inside.
The Sharks will bring it back out to their own 20. After a surplus of possession at this end of the field, the Bulldogs have been down here for some time now. It's been the Sharks who have had the chances in recent times. Greg Eastwood making back-to-back tackles there in the first. It was a beauty. Out of dummy half. Stopped there by Hallertau. A little bit of spark from dummy half. They haven't had much as yet. Gardner certainly can provide it. Here's Cordoba. Takes it down within a couple of metres of the Bulldogs' 40. Morris with Gallen. Picked off there by Hallertau. He did well to pick up 10 or 12 metres. They've got one more. And it's Townsend again. They'll keep bombing away, this time towards Barber. With plenty of black shirts coming down on top of him. A player who's had all sorts of trouble with the high ball in recent times makes a good catch.
Yeah, that was confidence from Ben Barber, and he certainly has been anything but under the high ball in the last 6 weeks. Good body position, turned his back to take the shot. Protect the football.
The Dogs go wide again inside their own territory. Morris going to the outside there of Townsend. Did well in the end to get to ground because there was a fair chance he was going to be taken into touch. Pritchard against a flat defensive line, struggling to keep pace with the Bulldogs once again in this set of 6. Hodkinson will chip it for the in goal. He wants this one. A little bit of backspin on it. Well, it looked as though it was going to go dead, but Latelli was taking no chances. He brings it back out about 7 from his own line.
That was a good kick from Trent Hodkinson. That was a much better kick from the Bulldogs. And this is the area of the field that the Sharks do not want to be in, working the ball off their own line. And they're playing a patience game at the moment, the Dogs.
Gardner grabbed by the coattails by Idris. There's Cordova again. Up there by Halatau and also Eastwood. Now Gallen somehow finds a way to pop a ball to Morris. He's got support there with Douglas looming up. Took the tackle. They'll have one more here. They'll go across to Townsend. There's Grubbers one down the middle. That's a dangerous looking kick for Barber. He's the staggered chase line and he just about splits them as well.
Gee, that was a good chase from Josh Reynolds. He was at marker. He applied pressure to Townsend. He didn't get the kick away that he was after. And because of that, Barber was able to get the football and chew up some easy metres. That's a good sacrifice by the young hooker. You have to make those type of sacrifices in a game for your team.
Now Turner, swung to the ground by Tupou. Done well off the back of a poor kick. In the Dogs' meters in this set of 6, the Sharks. Force of the kick here, if they do, from around about the halfway line. They'll go to the short side and do so, and Hodkinson will just drive it into touch. He feels that they may need a break for a moment. And I'll give the Sharks a chance to work it away from a scrum about 20 out from their own line.
Well, it was a good defensive set by the Sharks, but a poor set with the football by the Dogs. After the Ben Barber run, they travelled 10 metres in the next 4 tackles.
Andrew Ryan getting a breather for the moment. Don't forget, of course, next Monday night on Monday Night Football Live on Fox Sports.
Let's go, boys.
We'll bring you a top 8 blockbuster. And for Knights at home to the Broncos.
Tighter, tighter.
What a game that will be for Newcastle, given, of course, their heartbreaking loss to the Warriors across the ditch on Saturday night. A game in which they led for a long time, but it was the Warriors who finished the better in that one. Put the Knights in something of a perilous position at the bottom of the top 8 with 3 rounds to go, and that will be a huge game against the Broncos next week. Sharks working away from inside their own territory. Cordova puts it down. Idris cleans up for the Bulldogs. There's a big set of 6 coming up defensively here for the home side. Idris plays it. Goes across to Pritchard, who tries to skip to the outside. He found Townsend and then straightened when he came to the halfback. And he drove them back all the way to their own 30.
Well, that's a good run by Pritchard. He got 15 metres out of the run. He skipped to the outside. He moved the defence around. Hasn't been enough of it from the Dogs.
Now goes to the line, gives it to Keating. Barber on the angle as he was coming with him. A no-look pass. No result for Steve Turner, though.
Well, that was a ridiculous pass from Idris, because even if Steve Turner caught that football, there was only one thing that was going to happen. He was going to end up in row 3. There was no space down the side. Again, a long way from the defensive line, and I know sometimes that's all right with a player like Ben Barber, but not when you're going across field like the Dogs were. It was easy for the Sharks. Latelli did come in, but there was that much gap between the defence that the guys from the inside had no trouble covering it.
I know what I'd like to see Jamal do a little bit more of is just hitting the hole. Tonight he's been looking to catch and pass. Just try a little bit of a different shape. Come from outside in and hit a ball. Whether it's from Barber or Hodkinson. He'll skittle defenders. He can create maybe some second phase from that. A quick play the ball. But as a centre, you need to mix it up when you're that big and strong.
Luke Douglas has come from the field, Loz, and out there is this man with the ball now, Sam Tagatese. Can be damaging carrying the ball and certainly can hit in defence like few others. Perhaps maybe Frank Pritchard might be up to his standard. He looked for a shot right there, Frankie. Townsend, an awkward looking kick. It'll bounce up and it's going to be an awkward one here for Barber. They were coming quickly. He had a few chasing through in a hurry, and there's a real lack of urgency there between Turner, Barber and perhaps even Idris to get back there and clean that up.
Yeah, the missed kicks always seem to be the most dangerous ones. That landing in between all of them. Sat right up. the bounce again. Good run by Payer. Dragged Gallen a couple of metres.
Now Hodkinson goes across to David Stagg, who finds himself returning from an injury perhaps a week earlier than expected, with an ankle injury. Back in the lineup tonight, working off the bench. Go from Reynolds back to Payer, who gets a second carry in this set of 6. Kick it from inside their 40 if they wish to. Keating does exactly that. And he'll pick out Gardner on the force and room to wind up. He comes back towards Hodkinson, who did very well. Has shown himself in almost 2 seasons now in the NRL to be a very good defender as a halfback is concerned. Latelli brings it back across the halfway line. Not an easy task. Very rarely do you see Gardner done by the first man. Hodkinson did well. Here's Tagatese playing it for Aton. Spinning away from Reynolds. Giving it to Gallen. Juggled. Oh, good hit. Cordoba got rattled right there. Was it Mickey Payer? He bounced off his shoulder and somehow kept possession. Here's Tupou straightening and almost striding through the line. Grabbed there by Stagg. Last play. Aton goes to Townsend. Comes across to Graham. Now Gallen. Andrus. What a tackle by the centre on Cohen Best.
Did they know that was last tackle, the Sharks? They ran that as if they thought they had another tackle. The ball should have been in the air. They should have been testing the back 3 of the Bulldogs. But I like how Tupou attacked the line on that right side of the field. And they went to Chris Keating. Hasn't played a lot of football lately.
Here is Payer as they go to Keating once again. Now Pritchard popping it. Ball that the Sharks may end up with. Yes, they do.
Hesitation there by the Bulldogs to dive on the ball. The loose run from Pritchard.
Looks dangerous, doesn't it, on that left-hand side, but on that occasion, the better play was to tuck it under his arm and take the tackle. Looks as though he could split them just about every time he carries it at the moment. Tagatese, fast play the ball. Chance again as they come left. Graham putting it back on the inside for Best. He finds Gardner. He finds a way through, and the Sharks are on the board. Can't he chime in at the right time?
He's dynamic, Nathan Gardner. Missed last week's game, back in the #1 jumper for the Sharks. He had a huge game back in round 15 when the Sharks took care of the Dogs at ANZ Stadium. A huge hole up the middle it was too. They were late to react. The inside players, Best just ambling back in. Gee, surely they could see Gardner, David Stagg and Frank Pritchard very slow to close that hole.
You look at Frank Pritchard, he stops. He stops, and then when he realises the ball's going back to the post, then he goes again, but he's too late. If he had continued to jog across, he would have made that tackle. It just shows you cannot switch off, and when the ball goes past you, that's when you're at your most vulnerable. You have to continue to move towards the football.
Now Stapleton from beside the uprights makes it 6-all. We're locked up on Monday Night Football. Just over 5 minutes remaining in this half. Let's take a look at it once again and watch Pritchard, Loz.
You just watch Frank Pritchard. He goes, he stops, he's walking, and then Gardner gets him back on the inside. If he continues to move and shut down that space, Gardner runs into him. So for all the good work he's done carrying the football, you have to make up your half a yard and you cannot clock off at any stage. So that was good work from the Sharks to attack them through the middle. But just with Frank Pritchard, he needed to be switched on. He thought the ball was going away from him, so he didn't have to chase.
Of course, the Sharks' possession came off the back of the error that Pritchard made and trying to pop a speculator in the tackle. Here's Tupou. Midway through this set of 6, and they're almost back to the halfway line. The Sharks perhaps growing in confidence and stature in this game as Gallen goes across the halfway line, chopped there by Keating and also Reynolds. It was a slow play, the ball. Aton darting out from dummy half. I thought he had Keating perhaps not up there at marker, but he plays it quickly. Put up an attacking kick here off the back of scoring points. Barber listening to the footsteps, gets driven back into the in-goal area. But they'll say...
No, Chad. Yeah.
He's offside. Chad Townsend.
Townsend was it? Is offside.
Yeah, they've called him offside, so they've said he was in front of Wade Graham, who did put the bomb up. Let's have a look and see where Chad Townsend does come from. He was the dummy half. He tried to get himself back on side. He just didn't get back far enough. Graham was the one that made the contact.
Well, it was an important half metre, wasn't it? Because they were about to get 6 more tackles, and even the way they stormed down the field in that set of 6, like their chances of hitting the lead here. There were boos from the crowd, and they saw the replay because I'm sure they believe the penalty was for Barber being tackled in the air, but it was for Townsend being offside at the kick. Here's Idris, standing in the tackle, 15 short of the halfway line. Reynolds out there at the moment. They do have some options as far as the dummy half is concerned, and their halves, with Trent Cutler on the bench tonight. When he gets a chance to appear in just his 2nd game of the season. Here's Stagg. Just a couple of metres there in playing the ball. The kick from Reynolds. In no man's land for a moment. Cleaned up there by Townsend. And now they're going to say...
Wade on the ground, mate.
There's a flop.
Wade on him. It's a flop every day of the week.
By Ben Barber, who got there too late. They didn't need that, the Dogs, because they had a bit of chance to put some pressure on.
Thanks, Bucky.
The Sharks will begin this set of 6, 10 short of the halfway line. Try a piece it is. Here's Tagatese. He's ducking into the tackle there of Pritchard and also Reynolds. They go to Tupou. Again, gets the arm free. Aton comes through the hands of Cordoba. Graham almost lost it. Runs towards Payer and Hodkinson. They stop him. 40 away from the Dogs' line. Here's Smith. Trying to put a step on Reynolds. Has been solid defensively, the former half in the middle of the line. Now Gallen fending away from Hallertau and also Hodkinson. They combine to stop him just outside the Dogs' 20. And number 5 coming up. Gallen trying to milk one. Roberto Joy is best. Puts a step on as he comes towards Stagg. Last play. Aton. Love 6 again right here to round out the first half. The kick, though, taken very well by Jonathan Wright. No challenge there by Stapleton, who hit the deck in trying to get to the contest.
He just couldn't get himself into it. Jonathan Wright did well. Stood his ground, got up above Stapleton. And a good run off the back of it too. Jonathan Wright makes some good metres for the Dogs, almost out to the 30.
I said in the pre-game show, it shaped up as a bit of a nip and tuck affair. Now Eastwood rather, gets it away to Barber. There's nobody at home. Gardner is chasing. He won't get to him, and Ben Barber, off the back of Eastwood, getting up to play on, scores underneath the black dots.
Well, there was some confusion there because the Sharks, they stood around watching and waiting for the referee to signal penalty. They believe they had Eastwood wrapped up, but he falls out of the tackle. He's entitled to play on, and then they come again. But Eastwood had the ability to pass the football, and the ever-present Ben Barber, he identifies who to support in this Bulldogs team, and he knows Pritchard and Eastwood.
Well, it's a nice little dummy from Eastwood. That got him through the tackle. It was a one-on-one legs tackle. He kicks out of that. He threatened to pass the ball to Barber the first occasion he broke the line. On the other side, Barber continued with his run, and it was a nice ball. The go forward from the Dogs has been non-existent for the last 15 minutes. It took Eastwood a little show and go to break open the Sharks.
In the process of saying it was nip and tuck with nothing between these two sides, and then just like that, the siren almost about to sound. The Dogs have a healthy 6-point advantage. We will take a break and come back with the boys in the studio right after this. Stick around. A lot more to come tonight here on Monday Night Football.
Line breaks, they've come up with a couple of tries, so they're making the most of their opportunities. But
here's the try that separates the two teams coming back out for the second half. Greg Eastwood playing on, Ben Barber finishing it off. Let's go downstairs to Andy Raymond.
And at half-time, both Shane Flanagan and Jim Dimmick served up an old-fashioned spray. Very critical of the intensity of all players out there and asked for that to lift. For the Bulldogs, who are running on behind me, no injury concerns, but Jimmy Dimmick spoke about building pressure. He said there was too much short-term thinking, not enough long-term thinking. For the Sharks, Jason Peculiar with ankle ligament damage. Paul Gallen is going to battle on despite the calf complaint. Shane Flanagan spoke about speed of the game. Speed it up in all areas.
They certainly were speeding things up towards the back end of the first half, but went to sleep when Eastwood wasn't tackled. He was able to play on. The play on came from Jared Maxwell. The way he went to set up Ben Barber, and there was no stopping the fullback once he hit the open spaces. Dean Hallertau on try, 23 tackles, 34 points. Here tonight on Jim Beam Fantasy on foxsports.com.au. Sharks, of course, lost
All the running, guys.
Jason Peculiar in the opening 3 minutes of the game with an ankle injury. Paul Gallen also looked inconvenienced with perhaps the recurrence of the calf muscle strain that kept him out for 2 weeks recently. The Bulldogs have it. There is Mickey Payer to get us back underway. They go on with the job and close the gap between themselves and the top 8 to just 2 points, 1 win. We like to think of it that way. And the Sharks make their job almost impossible. Here and getting the points tonight. Stagg will play it for Josh Reynolds, who looked one way and came back the other. Pritchard was damaging at times in the first half. Has he been hurt here in the tackle?
Yeah, he fell awkwardly there. I think it's an ankle.
The tackle there of Jeremy Smith. Now Mickey Payer, he's not hobbling. He took some stopping right there. Pritchard's right to go as they come towards him once again. Gives it across to Josh Morris. He puts a kick in. Played nicely off the boot. Under some pressure as well there was Nathan Gardner.
That was good work by Nathan Gardner. He trapped it with his foot and then was able to regain the ball. The Dogs looking to go down a short side on last play. Morris was well aware it was fifth tackle. He got to the kick. The trainer still with Frank Pritchard in the background. He looks to be okay.
Here is Tagatese brushing past Reynolds, coming to Barber. He runs away from him, and Barber drags him down from behind. He can certainly scoot for a back rower. They go to the right-hand side. Here is Tempo, looking to get the arms free once again. He was stopping an awkward-looking tackle there by Keating, and he gets up grimacing as well. Now Graham, last play. He double-pumped it for Townsend to put it up in the air. Taylor flying for it, lost the ball backwards. In fact, they're going to say it came off Colin Best for a knock-on in goal.
A good run by Sam Tagatese that got the roll on going straight through Josh Reynolds. He's quick for a big man, trying to run around Benny Barber. Barber did a fantastic job to bring him down. And then the bomb. Did he touch that? Best, you would think he did.
Best got it. Yep. I think Best definitely got an arm to the ball. No reaction there from either side of the ruck with Tagatese. Just an easy run through. Reynolds going high and bouncing off, but gee, they were slow to react to either side of the ruck.
That's a lack of intensity, isn't it?
Yeah, they didn't want to chase. Ben Barber having to make the tackle.
He really is is something to stop at full gallop. Sam Tagatese, we know that. Last play for the Dogs. As Turner gets to dummy half. Goes across to Hodkinson. Put a kick in. Well weighted once again. Gardner under pressure here. Idris is there. Couldn't stop him from getting out from the Ngola. Neither. Could Turner! That's how you stop him! My goodness!
He grabbed hold of a sheep.
Jamal Idris might be snowblind.
He was going to shear him. Come here.
He was having trouble pulling him out too.
Was going to shear him.
That's the wedgie.
Oh, it's something. Jason Stevens played a lot of games here for the Sharks, and he was something of an expert of the wedgie. This is the reverse wedgie. My goodness. You can't have that on your highlights reel, can you?
All he needed to do there was just put the foot into the bum and kick him down the chute.
Oh, stop it. Oh, he might be wearing a blue singlet perhaps under the Bulldogs jumper. He'd have the sheep nervous, wouldn't he? Came out of the chute and saw Jamal with a pair of shears in his hand. How does Nathan Gardner ever live that down?
That'll be on the highlights reel at the end of the season and in seasons to come.
Brandy, I think we have the opener and then some for the League Lounge next Sunday night.
I think it'll get plenty of runs over the next few days.
Wow. We've seen some full moons outside, but that was something extra. Here is David Stagg. He'll play it 5 short of the halfway line.
I'm going to leave it alone now.
I think you should. Foot up the bum and kick down the chute, is the quote from El Daly. Here is Chris Keating. He's got himself coughing and spluttering, has Loz. Now Gardner, look out, Nathan. Where is Jamal? Don't run towards him. Look out for anybody impersonating a shearer, perhaps. No trouble this time. Oh, they had him by one leg. Oh, he's okay. Those shorts are in any condition to continue on. Did he call for a new pair? I can't believe the elastic in those shorts he was wearing held up. Here's Tupou trying to find a gap, bringing it back to Cassiano and also Morris. Now Townsend goes to Graham. He finds Gallen back on the inside. Now we're waiting for him there in number. Stagg was there, so was Mickey Payer. He brought it back to almost the halfway line. Now Graham! Oh! Frank got him in a Pritchard crusher. My goodness, that was a tackle. And Wayne Graham has felt the full effects of that. That is something again, Mike.
We've got a bit of clarity here on the nose.
Former teammates.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
boy. He might have an
trouble.
issue. He might have an issue here, Frank. Oh.
Well, he's run straight into the shoulder of Pritchard. They played nice and flat. He went at speed at the line. He was looking on the inside. He'd taken his eyes off the defender, and Pritchard nailed him.
Former teammates too. At Penrith, he could be in a bit of trouble, Frankie.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, if Wade Graham can continue on here, he's one tough rooster. Here's the shot again. Oh, he got him right with the upper arm and the point of the shoulder, and with first contact being to the head.
Well, he's tough. Look at him. He doesn't want to go off. Wipe the blood on right.
He's smiling, but it's a nervous
I'm not
smile
going to bother
from
looking
Pritchard.
at it. The problem is the contact is with the his head, and that's why he is like that. It's on report.
Well, Frank doesn't believe you can be on report or get charged for hitting somebody with your shoulder, but he is incorrect. And he will have a nervous wait to see what the match reviewers make of that tomorrow. We'll take him straight from the field. I thought it was a scheduled rotation. I'm a bit bemused by the fact that he's been penalised, but he should have an issue. And the match reviewers look at that tomorrow, given the contact that we saw. Here is Gallen, taking it down inside the Bulldogs 20. Looking to level things up once again. Here's Douglas. Back out there. Aton goes to Graham. He's done extremely well just to be on his feet. Jeremy Smith playing it for Aton. Goes Townsend. Tupou got away from Ryan's tackle. Cassiano knocked the ball down. This will be 6 more tackles. Townsend will wrap it up. Had he been able to get it away to the left-hand side, there was a chance there for the Sharks. But they do have a full set of 6 here. It's Jeremy Smith coming at them quickly. Almost getting away from Nicky Paya. He's only a couple of metres out. Aton feeds it back for Graham. A flat pass there for Gallen. He goes out the back. Graham's pass. Well, maybe he is still a little bit the worse for wear because that wasn't a Wade Graham pass.
No, Latelli, very little chance of picking that one up. And Wayne Graham, he's got to still be a little groggy after that shot from Pritchard. Gallen offloads. Graham just slipped out of his hands, I think. Big opportunity there for the Sharks. The Dogs' defence, to me, looks like cracking. Oh, there's no intensity in that defence, apart from Pritchard coming out of line and pulling off a hit there. Really, there's no intensity. Jeremy Smith almost worked his way across the line just from a hit-up as we see the shot from Pritchard again.
And that's why I believe the Sharks need to go forward rather than trying to go around the Bulldogs. If they run with some intensity, there's some holes there. Tupou, Tagatisi's already split them.
The Dogs are working away from their own end. Ben Pomeroy was in the middle of the field there, and now they're going to say there was a forward pass. And the Sharks will come right back at them.
Well, it was a short one from Stagg, who came across the back of the ruck to pick up Cassiano. It was hard to tell. Call from the touch judge. Here's Stagg.
Yeah, drifted forward the pass to Cassiano. That's an unforgivable mistake. And to start this second half, they've made a positional change, the Bulldogs. It looks as though Reynolds is now playing halfback and Keating is playing as the dummy half.
What's right?
Reynolds was stationed out here on the left.
Get nice and tight with him.
3 in.
Arm over there.
And Keating was playing in the acting half position. And their roles were reversed in the first 40 minutes.
Is that as a result of Tagatisi going straight through the middle of the line and brushing past Josh Reynolds not that long ago? Here come the Sharks once again. Gardner will play it for best. Game number 100 for the Sharks here tonight. Coming towards Chris Keating. And also David Stagg. Aton on the inside there for Douglas. Keating did well from dummy half and he worked with him. And they play it here just outside the 10. Now Smith showing it. Out the back and hanging on to it. Could have almost gone straight through there. And Stagg not been equal to the task. Here's Townsend stepping, giving it again to Douglas. He goes out the back. Aton had Graham going backwards. Now he straightens, runs straight at Keating. He dropped off and Stagg makes another important tackle. They've got one more play. Goes to Townsend, who will bomb again. Out towards Stapleton. And again, he can't come down with it.
He's won the battle in the air a couple of times now, Stapleton. I don't know whether he was trying to take that or knock it back on the inside because there was a couple of Sharks. Tupou won. He just got himself in an awkward position, had to bend his back even to get a touch on the football.
Jamal, get behind him.
They survived another scare, the Dogs, in this second half. They play it through Turner. Reynolds, dummy half for the moment. We'll see if Keating takes over. Here's a ball out the back. Come off the right hand there of Reynolds, who gets taken to the ground pretty heavily there by Gallen and also Graham.
His problem.
Might have been trying to milk a penalty. So just play on. Staggered, then fell back to the ground. Tolman playing it for Reynolds. Goes to Stagg, who comes back to Tolman. Here's Hallertau. Running to Graham. Not convinced he's all that well, Graham. He's gutsing it out for the moment. Here's Hodkinson. Keating floating sideways, giving it to Morris. A bit of room to move. He goes towards Townsend. Gives it back on the inside for Wright, who does some light stepping. Goes to ground. Hodkinson will pick it up. Tries to get away from Douglas, and he threw a ball that looked forward. Clear is the call, and Stagg has it. And they have one more tackle. 25 metres out from the Sharks line. Hodkinson grubbering. Idris is coming. Gardner waiting. Boy, there was some poise and some composure right there from Nathan Gardner.
Yeah, showed plenty of experience there, Gardner, with Idris on his heels. He's got himself in between the ball and Idris and allowed it to go dead. Gets things going. Stapleton struggling with some sort of leg complaint.
As Latelli plays it. And it's Gallen taking it forward. There's Stapleton. Look at the limp. There's a problem with that left leg as he waits out here on the right-hand side. Here's Smith. The Sharks screaming forward, forward, go forward. They eventually did through Snowden. Now Smith takes it to the line, gives it off to Douglas. They used the ball tonight. More than perhaps you would have thought so. They've done a few times with their forward pack this year. Barber standing underneath it. Graham trying to come through and put some pressure on him. There's been no sign of the hesitant Ben Barber under the ball tonight.
No, he's attacking the football, Ben Barber, and that's a good sign for his confidence. But again, the Sharks with the ball, they need to go forward with support and really challenge the Bulldogs through their physicality. They're a big, strong football team when they roll through the middle and they can make yards, and it makes it so much easier for everyone else in the team if they're winning that battle on the ground.
Still no change to our halftime scoreline of 12-6. Last tackle for the Dogs for Hodkinson to kick it from around about the halfway line. I think he has been pretty good tonight. This one will be too big. And the Sharks will bring it back out to the 20. They've weathered an early storm from the Sharks, who had plenty of tackles inside the Bulldogs 20 at the front end of this first, or rather second half. It's a real arm wrestle in the classical sense at the moment. Here's Snowden. Taking it up to Halatau. A lot of work on that right edge of the field. 30 tackles now for Dean Halatau. Gallen going towards Hodkinson. And he plays it eventually. Morris getting out of dummy half. Keating was rather deep once again there at marker, getting away with it perhaps. We'll play it back for Gardner. Play 5. Here's Douglas giving it to Snowden. He bounced off Idris, who stayed with him. Two big men coming together, but the ball went backwards from Snowden. Luckily, Best cleaned it up. Last play, Townsend again goes to the air. Stapleton can't get there to contest that. And then Ben Pomeroy, I think he thought he was playing NFL.
Well, he just had no idea where the ball was and ran straight into the play. He wasn't even looking at the football, Ben Pomeroy.
How do you do that?
No intention at all.
How do you come up with that?
He thought he was a stray sheep coming up the chute the wrong way. In your shearing shed, Loz.
Well, the sheep, there's one on this occasion. The shearer's been thrown off the job. He's had too many.
I think he might have given what we just saw. He was half an hour early. The subplot to that little contest is that Nathan Stapleton out here, who has been the target as far as the high balls are concerned, well, he couldn't get out of a jog.
I'm still stunned that he actually made that decision to tackle him without the football. He didn't even have eyes for the football.
You've got to be a fair judge to know when the ball's going to come down. The man who's standing underneath it when you're not even looking at the ball yourself.
Trent Cutler on the field. Nice little run from him. Went straight to the defence. Almost slid through.
There's Morris almost getting away from Townsend. He tried to play it quickly. They'll penalise Townsend. It was a good run by Morris, and he was just about in for a try that would make it very, very tough for the Sharks.
And they take the 2 points here, the Bulldogs. I don't think there's a decision to be made. They're 6
I don't know,
in front.
mate. I'll tell you when I find out. True.
He just hangs on there a little bit too long, Chad Townsend. And the referee, he had to give that penalty. He had no other choice. May have saved his team a try, Chad Townsend. And the Bulldogs are taking the shot at goal through Steve Turner.
Here's Ben Pomeroy again, and there's the ball eventually coming into frame. Not only was he way, way early, but the ball was nowhere near where he made contact. Some metres behind him.
I've got no answer for you.
No, I don't know that Ben does either.
Got nothing that will enlighten anyone on why Ben Pomeroy decided that. Steve Turner with an opportunity to push the Dogs' lead out to 8.
He hits it nicely. It swings back. And the Bulldogs lead the Sharks 14 points to 6. Just over a quarter of the game remaining here at Toyota Stadium.
It was a nice run by Josh Morris. He just hit the hole. With the Sharks sliding, he just came short under a nice ball. Really sliced through. And now from the restart, Adam Coleman carries the ball forward and met there by Luke Douglas and Paul Aton.
A long way to go in this one for the Bulldogs. And the 2 points secured here tonight. Here's Keating from dummy half. Doing well, always dangerous, and almost opened up a chance there for Idris had he popped the ball. They play it for Hallertau. Now goes to Idris. He gets wrapped up. Wade Graham has come from the field. No doubt that he wasn't anywhere near full fitness after that hit by Frank Pritchard. We haven't seen Pritchard re-emerge as yet for the Bulldogs. Still sitting back there on the bench at the moment. This is Hodkinson's kick. Sailed down to Stapleton. We'll wait and see whether he can get into any sort of... He's only out there because they have nobody else at the moment. The ball is being stripped backwards, one-on-one. And Tolman has it. And the Dogs get a chance to put their foot on the turf. Here is Cassiano. He's only a couple of metres away. They play it here for Keating. As he looks to the right-hand side, they are short out there. Hodkinson goes out the back. Barber to Idris. Latelli somehow hung on to him.
Super tackle.
With some help. Who was it underneath him? It was Nathan Gardner. It was a $1 score there, Idris. Here is Cutler flipping out the back. Did he lose it? They say backwards if he did. And Barber picks it up. He runs to Latelli. He pops it over the top. Knocked backwards by the Sharks. And they might get themselves 6 more tackles all the same here, which they will.
Hold on, boys.
But how they didn't score a couple of times on that right-hand side, well, I'll never know.
Well, Latelli and Nathan Gardner had no right to stop Jamal Idris from that distance. Once he got the ball, I thought that was it. Just see how Cutler just flicks it out the back. That's okay. Ben Barber did run behind one of his players as he went towards the right side of the field.
Make it here. Hold here.
They come back at them through Cassiano. Tries to get away there from Snowden. He plays it now. Keating catches the markers out. Hodkinson, a couple up flat with him. Ryan back to the middle. Cassiano will take some stopping. They were able to do that, or were they? It looked as though he was tackled, but he was certainly playing on. Now Keating dropping back. Giving it for Hodkinson, who will chip it out towards Turner. They do get there. It took an extra set of 6, but the kick was beautifully weighted for Steve Turner, and it makes it tough now for the Sharks at 18 points to 6.
Well, Repeat said it was always going to be tough for the Sharks to hold them out Nice work by Hodkinson. Just feigned to pass the ball. That brought Latelli in, and there was a mile of space out there for Steve Turner. But the kick still had to be spot on, and it was. Right on the chest.
It was good vision and good communication with the outside backs from Trent Hodkinson. Perfect kick. And Turner knew it was coming. They've extended the lead to 12. It's going to be a difficult job now for the Sharks to run them down.
Just to take it out to 14 points, the difference. Still a stack of time left in the game, relatively, because we know teams can run in tries when they're able to. Double quick time, but I think with the Bulldogs, with everything to play for here tonight, defend the lead from this point on, but Turner's kick is wide. And it stays at 2 converted tries with 18 remaining.
Well, every point is vital in the remaining games in the competition for the Bulldogs if they want to keep their season alive. So they can't afford to give up any cheap points. They must take their opportunities in this next 18 minutes.
Here is Coleman. Bring it back out for the Bulldogs to get the next set underway. I can tell you the Sharks have managed to score 12 points in the last 20 minutes of a game, only twice so far this season. They need to make it 3 to at least send this to golden point here tonight. Stag comes towards Morris and also Kate Snowden. Here's Peter showing it one way, coming back the other once again. Boy, they were pushing up in support until Barber put it down. It's a bit of a look about the Dogs suddenly here, and you wonder, nothing to play for, just how much resolve there is left in the Sharks.
Yeah, Frank Pritchard on the sideline, ready to come back onto the field after his little rest.
Snowden, Tolman slipped over on the defensive line there, and as a result, Snowden picked up some big meters. He takes it down to the 20. Here's Jeremy Smith giving it a tag. It's easy. Sandel dive in. He scores. The Sharks hit back. And this one is far from done with yet.
Well, they needed to hit back quick, and they have through Tagatese. Not the first time tonight he's been able to bust the line. Keating with some good meters out of dummy half, and it was just a cold drop from Ben Barber. Took his eyes off the ball. Then Jeremy Smith, the flat runner, he had Chad Townsend coming around the back, and that just allowed a bit of room for Tagatese.
Well, that's what they need to do more of. Play direct. Get their forwards moving forward through the middle and hit those big men on the edges, the Tagateses. If you get them in a situation where there's one defender, they're hard to bring down. He's been good in the second half, Tagatese, for the Sharks, but they just need more of it. That's their strength. Their strength is not playing to the edges and playing around football teams. It's playing direct.
Now, despite carrying this injury, Nathan Stapleton has a kick to once again make it 6 the difference. And of course, remembering that Ben Barber scored in the 40th minute off a Greg Eastwood play on call. He gets the flags up in the air at 18-12. 15 remaining here on Monday Night Football. If you're wondering about the Sharks' resolve, they've just shown through Sam Tagatese, who gets his first try as a Shark, that there is still plenty of resolve in this camp.
Well, the game's alive again. Bulldogs giving away cheap points. Jimmy Dimmick would be unhappy with that. Kate Snowden carrying the ball forward. There's some hope, there's some life there for the Sharks.
As you saw, Frank Pritchard involved in that first tackle. He's back out there now. Coming from the field immediately after being placed on report for the high tackle on Wade Graham. He won't return is the word from the Sharks bench, Wade Graham. So they're down to two only. A new change. There is current coach Jim Dimmick. Will he be the coach ongoing in 2012?
Look at that set of 6. just by playing direct. They are 30 metres out for an attacking kick, the Sharks.
Townsend puts it up. Pressure here on Barber, who's been very good. They didn't get there to make a contest of it. But they've got him pegged only a couple of metres out from his own line.
Poor intensity there by the Bulldogs. They just allowed the Sharks, big men, to make copious amount of metres through the middle. They were surging.
Here's Wright. Picked off in a tackle around the legs by Douglas. Hallertau running from dummy half. They need something. Ankle tap there by Cade Snowden. The player just outside the 20. He's playing number 5. Pritchard had them going backwards. Townsend in particular. They'll have to kick it here from around about the 30-metre line. Hopkinson under pressure. And as a result, it will bounce up. Gardner will watch it a second time before he gets to it. He brings it back to around about the 40-metre line. So the Sharks, off the back of the tag, it's easy try with a bit of wind in their sails. Mattelli. Stapleton. A little bit better on that carry right there as he took it to the defensive line. There is again Keating, who really takes a chance from marker.
He was offside a mile, Chris Keating, offside a mile.
He has been several times tonight, hasn't been called for it. Here is Gardner. Callan grabbed from behind there by Frank Pritchard. They're 20 metres out. Here's Jeremy Smith coming to them once again. Tagateezy was also there once more. They held on to it. Now the Lions. They'll bomb away once again. They have to get a result sooner or later. Tap backwards. A chance. Hallertau takes it dead. And it will be a goal line dropout.
Good pressure by the Sharks again. Going forward. Going forward, winning the ruck and applying pressure to the Bulldogs. Outside men on 5th tackle. Putting the ball in the air.
Stay behind him.
And they look to be struggling here, the Dogs. It's the Sharks with all the energy all of a sudden. They're playing with this for their season. The Dogs, you would think they'd find something now. Crucial stage of the match.
They protect this 6-point lead for the moment. As they go to the left-hand side, Gallen back on the inside there for Snowden. He keeps it alive, and Gallen hopping and step as he comes towards them, and stopped there by Keating and also Pritchard. Aton. Smith, the tag, it's easy once again. Good tackle that was made there by Trent Cutler. Now Townsend. He goes wide to the left. Morris links up. Here's a chance. Best gives it to Letelli, and Turner saves the day for the Bulldogs.
Great tackle, Stevie Turner.
I'm free.
They were sliding hard. The Sharks had them. Idris and Turner pushed towards the corner. Best. Well, he had Idris. He had to give the pass, and then Turner took Letelli on, stayed low. It was a great result.
Good tackle by Steve Turner. Could be a game saver.
Stay there, lads.
Letelli did everything right. He got down low.
Seconds, David.
Didn't have much room to work with. But Turner was up to the task. Big set of 6 again coming up for the Bulldogs with the ball.
Huge. Wait and see what sort of energy they have. A bit of time out there while the scrum ready to be packed. Now Cutler gets free and gives it off to Keating. They go sideways, and then Stagg eventually gets them going in the right direction. But he was cut down very quickly as Barber runs towards Pritchard and gives him a chance to take it. And he gets them also about 10 or 12 metres. Coleman, better stuff in the last couple of plays by the Dogs. Play number 5. Here's Hodkinson going to Ryan, runs towards Jeremy Smith. Like a kick that would stay in the in-goal area here. Hodkinson again under pressure. The Sharks just keep coming out at him. Stapleton trying to get back there to take it on the full in the in-goal area. We'll play the whistle, boys. Both he and Gardner too busy appealing to the touch judge, saying he was back there, but he wasn't back there in time. Here's Pomeroy. Hallertau down around the leg, stopping him 20 out from his own line and running hard. They're equal to the task, though. Stagg was there. He lost the ball. Balsea was stripped out. That's a big call as we go inside the final 10.
Yeah, I know.
We'll give the Sharks again a chance to put something on towards the back end of this next set of 6. 3 of them involved in the tackle. I'm going to say that Andrew Ryan, it could have only been Andrew Ryan who stripped it out. Might have been a tough call.
Well, where was Steve King? The kick actually bounced in the field of play.
Here is Gallen again, going towards Stagg and Tolman. We had fears that Paul Gallen may not be able to continue in the game after the opening couple of minutes. He now had 22 hit-ups and made 25 tackles. Here's Townsend, one-on-one there with Keating. I'm sure for a moment must have been thinking about a strip. 3 tackles gone there. Back inside the Dogs 20. Morris gives it off to Pomeroy. He pops the ball. Luckily, it went backwards, and Aton won the race to it. Morris will go left. He gives it off to Smith. Snowden giving it to Douglas. 3 big men combining there like they were halves and 5/8 from an era past. Gallen, he goes back. Townsend once again. Out towards Stapleton once again. He flies up for it, gives it to Pomeroy. He tries to fling it backwards, but it goes out of play. Well, they just cannot get a result on the kick from Townsend, headed for Stapleton here tonight.
Well, this was their problem last week against the Gold Coast. They had plenty of football at the right end of the field and just couldn't get across the line. He gets one out the back, Stapleton, but Pomeroy was going towards the sideline. Desperation flick goes into touch.
I know it's the in thing, kicking to the wing, but I still think you should be testing Barber. At the post, and he's standing there. He doesn't even in a leap to the football. He's just standing there. He's more vulnerable there than any other position on the field.
He's up behind them at the moment, looking for a chance. And around the play, the ball, and there was almost one right there. Pritchard had it cocked in the left arm, held onto it, and Barber was off his hip. The kick, Defiance touch is a good one. That's a brilliant kick.
Great kick.
He had to really rush it too, Chris Keating. He struck it beautifully. You don't often get that. Bounce back into dummy half. Get out there real quick. There was some pressure from Tagatese. He still got around the outside of him and got the bounce that he wanted. They're starting to run out of time, the Sharks.
The good news is they've had plenty of possession in the last 10 minutes, 2/3 of the ball, as you can see. They've had 3/4 of that time inside their own half. The other good news is the Sharks only need to score once to level the game up. Perhaps on this a bit of overtime here tonight. What does Shearers get paid for overtime, Loz?
A couple of long necks.
Good shed that you run. You're a very generous boss.
There'll be plenty after work, Loz. Don't worry about that. I'll be joining in. Doing it responsibly, of course.
Without doubt, here is Snowden. Awkward ball on what hands. Tagatese back on the inside. David Stagg, the defensive specialist, made a very important one there in the context of the Bulldogs season. Here is Gardner, the player who got sheared by Jamal Idris earlier on.
Yeah, good stop up the middle there by Dean Hallitown. Read it well with Gardner back on the inside.
Here's some pressure on Barber, but nobody gets there to make a contest of it. There was some good blocking in the middle by the Bulldogs. And again, he comes down securely with the ball here tonight.
Well, he's got plenty of criticism over the last month or so. Good run by Josh Morris, but he's been up to the task tonight, Ben Barber. That's half a dozen that he's taken. He's committed himself tonight. Take the ball on the full.
Stagg gives it to Eastwood. His play, jumping back to his feet and playing on at the back end of the first half, is the play that separates these two sides at the moment. Pritchard runs towards them. Stopped there by Townsend and also Aton.
Well, it nearly is a couple up. Let's throw it to Frankie Pritchard and see what he can do with it. Hodkinson, good pressure.
He was thinking field goal. Now there's a chance for Barber. He runs in behind them, but chips it straight to Nathan Gardner. Then strips the ball out, but he knocked it on in doing so.
He did. He pulled it forward, propelled it towards his own goal line.
He pulled it out and forward.
Take it.
It was good thinking, I think, by Anthony Tupou, who rushed Hodkinson. Hodkinson was setting himself up for a field goal. They rushed him. The rest of the line didn't push forward, which allowed Barber to slice through. The kick wasn't a great one, into the arms of Gardner. And then he reefed it out. Unfortunately, he knocked it on.
Here is Colin Best. Going to ground with just over 4 minutes remaining. Gallen. The Sharks 75 metres away from where they need to be. Aton. It's it off to Snowden. Sliding as he came to the tackle there of Keating and also Pritchard. Aton to Tupou. A little ball will chip over the top perhaps. Chris Keating at the moment, who is defending as the fullback, with Ben Barber playing out on the right wing. It's interesting at the back end of the game here. Now Aton. Well, he found the referee almost. He looked up, saw Tupou. Jeremy Smith, as casual as you like, is under all sorts of pressure now. Did he know the urgency of the situation? He gets it away to Pomeroy. He doesn't look to kick. He's trying to pop the ball, and they will turn it over.
Well, that's embarrassing.
He didn't know, Ben Pomeroy. He did not know that was tackle 5. He couldn't have. Because when Jeremy Smith popped the ball to him, he didn't even shape the kick.
That's a terrible end to a set.
It began with a diabolical pass from dummy half. It only went downhill from there as Turner gets out from dummy half himself. Takes it down within 22. If they were looking for a field goal before, they get a great chance right here to make it a 7-point game. They might think try for a couple more plays as Keating gets an offload there from Idris. It comes back to Turner. Eastwood giving it to Pritchard for the win. He stopped a metre short by Pomeroy. He'll play it to Turner. They go to the left-hand side. Kutler lobs it over the top. Wright comes away from the chalk. He runs all the way back to the posts. And he's stopped there by Morris and eventually Gardner. They're too close now, you'd imagine, for the field goal. But they'll feed it back for Hodkinson all the same. He'll snap it. They weren't too close. He sticks over the extra points.
How many times have we seen Trent Hodkinson do this?
Well, he's a specialist. He got it to the ground very quickly. Was you right, they were very close. It was a good pass, a 20-metre pass. And how quickly did he get that onto his foot? Saw him kick plenty last year for Manly. If it wasn't over, that will seal it.
Well, they got their just rewards, didn't they, the Sharks? I mean, that last set of 6 that they had with the football, I mean, you're just wanting the opposition to put you away.
Well, it disappeared when they had that 10-minute period where they had all the field position, all the football, and they just couldn't get across the line.
That was the game right there. Mentioned those field goals that Hodkinson kicked last year for Manly. 2 in the one game to win, of course did it that long ago against Parramatta. 8-7. Proving to be a pretty important win for the Bulldogs, as this is here tonight. The level of intensity required will continue to rise, because next week it's the Seagulls. Here's Keating going out the back to Eastwood. He keeps it alive. It comes back to Chris Keating, and he's taken to ground by Stapleton, who is still struggling with a leg injury of some sort. Just over 30 seconds remaining. Hodkinson heading out towards Hallertown. Gallen. He stops him a metre away. They've got one last play here. Turner will kick it out towards Barber. It bounced up for him.
Goal line.
He couldn't get it down in time. It won't matter. I'm going to say goal line dropping as opposed to a 20-metre restart. Mattelli did swat it away from Barber's hands, but that does it as far as Shane Flanagan. And the Sharks are concerned here tonight. The Bulldogs, they stay alive in the race for the top 8. They're just 2 points away from the Newcastle Knights. They've beaten the Sharks here tonight, 19 points to 12.
Well, it wasn't a convincing performance by the Bulldogs, but they keep their season alive. They take on Manly next week, so we'll get a bit of better indication of how they are travelling. But they needed the 2 points. They got them. They did what they had to do. And the try just on half-time was probably the difference in the game. Ben Barber running off a pass from Greg Eastwood. There's some good performances in both sides. But in the end, the Bulldogs probably wanted it a little bit too much.
Well, Andrew Ryan, of course, the end of his career gets one game closer. He knows, of course, themselves alive for another week. A loss here tonight wouldn't have ended their season. It would have been all but, of course, remaining 2 wins out of the top 8. But now it's just 1. 2 premiership points is the difference. I think we're ready for Andy Raymond to talk to one of the winning Bulldogs here tonight.
Yeah, I've got Trent Hodkinson with me. The season's still alive, but that's winning ugly, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, you know. We knew it was going to be a battle, you know. They wanted to finish off the year very strong, and we're still a chance of sneaking in the top 8. So, yeah, we're just happy with the 2 points. It was an ugly win, but we got there.
You guys a little flat tonight? Speed of game just wasn't there?
Yeah, I think we were a bit loose around the ruck and things like that. They got a roll on up the middle, and you know, they just got out of their end a little too easy. So we'll address that during the week and focus on the Eagles next week.
Big game for you next week, big game for the side, but it's always nice playing against your old mob.
Yeah, definitely, you know, I'm looking forward to it out there. I'll cop a fair bit out there, so, you know, it's going to be good. Big challenge for us, so they're on fire, the Eagles, so be a good game.
Well done, fella.
Thanks, mate, cheers.
Also nice enough to join us, Johnny Morris. Yeah. Tough night at the office, mate.
Yeah, it is, mate. You know, coming off a couple of ordinary weeks, we wanted to turn it around, especially at our home ground. You know, a few games to go for us in the season, but we certainly wanted to cause a bit of havoc for the teams that are vying for that top 8 spot. But it's just too many errors tonight, and you know, probably deserve to get the result.
Doesn't make it any easier. Jason Bakuya goes off after a couple of minutes. Paul Gallen struggling with a calf. Wade Graham still in Disneyland. When you're losing troops and you're not playing well, it's difficult.
Yeah, it is, mate. I suppose don't make excuses, but it does hurt you. Gal's on one leg out there. You know, he didn't train all week, and to lose sort of Wado, our playmaker. Yeah, it does make it tough, but you know, we've got to be better than that. And as I said, you can't expect to make those sort of errors at the back of the field. Yeah. And just put pressure on yourself against a side like Canterbury. I thought they played pretty good tonight. Focus on the last couple of games of the year. What's the motivating factor for you and for the Sharks? Just to get a bit of pride back into our jersey. I think, you know, we've shown everyone that we could play good footy this year, but consistently we just sort of dropped the ball there for the last sort of month of footy. But you know, we've got players moving on next year, and they've got a lot to play for. They want to go out and high. Blokes like Luke Douglas and Cade Snowden, you know, it means a lot for them to go out on a good note. So you know, we'll be doing everything we can, you know, to get our next 3 wins up. Cheers, Johnny. Thanks, Andy.
The steam rises from John Morris, but that game was anything but hot tonight. But a result, 19 points to 12 for the Bulldogs tonight away from home at Toyota Stadium. Not pretty at all, I think that's fair to say, but a much-needed victory. Look, their hopes are still alive in the 2011 season to make the top 8, and it was a must-win game tonight. They probably treated it as a must-win game as well.
Yeah, look, I think in tonight's match they had opportunities to probably score more points. I thought they were just a little bit conservative about what they were trying to achieve tonight. I think the Haas need to stand up over the next 3 weeks, and because there's some big games coming up against certain teams for the Bulldogs. If they want to go any further, they've got to start scoring more points, and that gets them a little bit closer to South Sydney, but not close enough just yet.
Junior, the quality was probably a little bit better in the first half than the second half. What did you make of the stats?
Well, they didn't vary that much in the second half. At half-time, they were very even in terms of possession, in terms of completion rates, even missed tackles. But the big difference there is that the Sharks had a whole lot of opportunities to put points on the board, given their field position, 36 times tackled in the opposition's 20. The Bulldogs didn't have as much field position, but you know, they capitalised on the opportunities. I suppose that's also a reflection of the Dogs a little bit more desperate in defence, and the Sharkies, they just lacked a little bit of variation in attack. They as I said, they had plenty of field position, did not quite capitalise on that.
Let's have a look at the action from the second half. It was a 12-6 scoreline. A Bulldogs penalty in the 58th minute took it to 14 points to 6, and it was Steve Turner-Dell that would get the first try of the second half, and this looked as though it put the game out of reach, 18 points to 6.
Yeah, no, a bit of space out there, and Steve obviously called it, and the Sharkies, boys had to push in there, so good try and well done.
And Sam Tagatese was really one of the best for the Cronulla Sharks tonight. A damaging run there from him, Wiz. He was one of the forwards from the Sharkies that really stood up tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I wish they'd start him. I think he's ready to be starting now. He doesn't need to come off the bench. I know they're trying to probably give him the way the side plays, but when you've really got nothing to play for in the end except pride, to start Tagatese, I think it would be a big boost for the Cronulla side.
It's a tough ask, obviously, for the Bulldogs against the Manly Seagulls. Trent Hodkinson coming up against his old side. But do you think that they have enough of it in their armoury to take it to a side like the Manly Seagulls? I mean, we saw a good performance from Ben Barber tonight. We know that he's the sort of player that they'll look to if they're to score points against Manly. Well,
that's what they've got to do. They've got to find a way to score a lot more points against Manly, because Manly's got plenty of points in them. And tonight, I felt they had a lot of opportunity to score more points against the Sharkies. The Sharkies defence was pretty desperate at times on their line, but they still didn't capitalise on the opportunities that they created. He was definitely a shining light at the back tonight, Ben Barber, wasn't he, Del? We touched on that in the pre-game show. I think he was pretty much 100% at the back, and that might have been the difference. Yeah, no, that was good. I mean, he needed to play well tonight, but just have that good all-round game. We all know he can attack, but obviously his defence, they talk about, but more so that high ball stuff, and he's obviously worked pretty hard with the Hodkinson, and he did a great job. I think 5 or 6 bombs he caught tonight, and did it easy too. And that's what you want from your fullback. You want him to go for it. You don't want to see it just saying, oh, look, he's not going to go for it. So, yeah. And Delhi, he really looks like a confidence player. He takes that first high ball and he goes on and has a big game. He spills the first one, he tends to struggle a bit.
Well, I think any winger or any fullback, when they've had a little bit of a tough, time of it, if you drop that first one, you start to think to yourself, oh, here I go again. And, once he caught that, he was right. And I think it set the tone for a pretty good game all round for him.
Well, an ME Bank talking point tonight is what area of the Bulldogs game needs to change if they are to be a genuine contender. What do you reckon, Wiz? We'll start with you.
Okay, I'll give it to you direct. Intensity. I don't think they had enough intensity in their game there tonight, really. If they don't want to put the sword to Manly next week, they've got to go up, but not 100%, 200%, because you can't miss that many tackles, drop that many balls against good quality sides in this competition. Otherwise, they will make you pay. Now, if the Manly side have 36 tackles in the opposition's half, which is the Bulldogs, next week, they'll put on 4 or 5 tries. And the way they defended tonight, the Bulldogs, I don't think they'll be able to stop them.
I think it's urgency. I think it's actually doing everything at pace. It's a little link to what Wiz is talking about, but just pushing each other, doing everything at pace is really what they need to do. They can't afford to go through at that speed against as in play the ball speed in terms of speed of the line against Manly, or they'll get lapped.
Yeah, look, I think guys like Idris and Morris need to get involved. They're big, strong, powerful units. They're just not running as hard as they should be, and they need to have more involvement, and that'll help those forwards out. And I mean, I know Frankie Pritchard tried to take it a little bit tonight, and he put a couple of good shots on there, but those 2 big centres, and Jamal Idris, he's been off the ball the last couple of months. I know he's starting to get back to where he is, but it's just a bit quiet for me tonight.
I thought Morris was all right tonight. I thought he injected himself into this game when it was necessary, and he nearly made a couple of half breaks, which would have resulted in some further down the field, offloading the ball and maybe come up with some points. I thought at least he got in there to say, mate, I'm back in first grade, I had a week off, and I played last week, but I can improve. And that's what you have to do. Every week you're trying to improve your performance, and that's what the Canterbury Bulldogs have to do next week, mate. They have to improve.
You make good points, guys. Urgency and intensity is exactly what they need, and they should say, hey, South Sydney are in the same position of us, and they are showing exactly that intensity and urgency, so much so that if they did happen to get into the 8, you would think, hey, they could trouble a side or two.
Well, that's the way they started the season. They started the season when their first 3 games, everybody's saying how good are they going to be this year. Then they dropped off. Maybe they were reading their own press. I don't know what it was, but they've certainly. You look at them on paper, and they're a side that should be in the finals without a doubt. But they just need to maintain that basically that attitude into the finals.
You know, Junior, in watching them tonight, I thought they lost their way a little bit, and that probably comes from their halves. And the same with Cronulla. You know, when you've got such young half and 5'8" in your team, and there was a stage there in the game, so I'll use Cronulla as an example, when there's the last play, should have kicked it, they didn't. The Dogs did that a number of times. It was like, what do I do now? Someone needs just to stand up and take control.
All right, well, don't forget Noel Crusher Cleal is the special guest in the studio with us shortly. But for now, the Harvey Norman Man of the Match, and it's back to Andy Raymond, who is with tonight's recipient.
The $1,000 gift card for our Harvey Norman Man of the Match goes to big Frankie Pritchard. Winning ugly, but you take any win.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, at the moment now, every win counts. You know, if it's ugly one, we'll take it.
Hard to get into this one? Seemed a little slow the whole game.
Yeah, you know, just for us, you know, we just had to complete sets, and, you know, we're pretty lucky we didn't give away any penalties early, but, yeah, it was a slow game. You know, once we, you know, kind of gone into a rhythm, we kind of got away with the game, but it was probably a forwards game tonight.
In that middle third of the field, Aidan Tolman, Sam Cassiano, they don't get huge raps, but do they pile up massive numbers for two big units?
Mate, they're hard to contain, mate, when they're going forward. You know, they're a biggie for our team. They just get us going, rolling forward, and you know, Sammy gets us a quick play the ball. So, you know, when they're on the field, you know, when they're on the field, if they're off, we miss them big time.
Your game's improved. You're making yourself, or you're getting yourself into the game more.
Yeah, you know, been a bit under par, you know, the whole year, you know, as a team. But you know, it's just for us. We just got to win every game from here on in. So if we can make it in the top 8, anything's going to happen from there on in.
Any sleepless nights with the tackle on Wade Graham, or all sweet?
Oh, you know, first and foremost, you know, I was just checking him after the game, see if he's safety. You know, he's checking his health, but. Other than that, I thought it was okay. You know, he's 4'2", and I'm 6'2", so you know, I don't know what to do. You know, if Gunn got away with it, you know, who knows?
Okay, there we go. There's your $1,000 from Harvey Norman Man of the Match, and don't swear again.
Oh, sorry. Take it easy.
Yes, we had to introduce a little bit of beeping there for Frankie Pritchard. He was excited about obviously winning the Man of the Match award tonight. But look, I don't know whether his game tonight, Del, was as good as last week, but in patches tonight he brought the right level of intensity.
No, look, Frank the take, mate. When he's on, mate, he's a leader, and you got to follow him. And tonight he turned up and did a few good things. Obviously, Wade Graham was a bit unfortunate, but that's the sort of presence he has when he gets going. And you know he's a class player when he's on. But and tonight he showed enough to lead from the front.
Yeah, he certainly did.
I hate to have him measuring the suits. Everybody reckons Wade Graham's 4'2". He's about 6'1".
I want to put some money in that swear jar too, Frankie. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, actually, we might as we bring the boys